I gotta get a drink of water. Interesting. I don't know if you can see that up there. If you look, I'll try to point in on it in this area back there. Something is burning, which is, man, the last few years feels like during the summertime something is always burning. Not just in the country as a whole, but like in the city, so. Okay, so we are on like the very edge. I think I'm technically even on the other side of the edge of my 1 kilometer circle. But the reason for that is this building, which the sun is completely blasting right now. I was hoping I could get a view of it from across the street, but I didn't think about the timing with the sun, so yeah, you can't see it very well. All right, I'm actually gonna go back around, so I guess you'll rejoin me on the other side when I can actually be in the shade of the building and you can actually kind of see what I'm talking about. But cue the jump transition. Okay, this is gonna be loud, but there's not too much I can do about it. We started out over there at that building, and now we are here at the base of the building that I wanted to talk about. And hopefully, this might not look like much, and I will have to put some pictures up so you can actually see. But this is the Dochodny dom Pelageya Milovanova, or the tenement house of Pelageya Milovanova. And the whole thing with this actually belongs to a widow entrepreneur. She was an old believer who owned a brick factory and other rental properties in the city. And you know what? I probably can't actually tell you about this building while I'm right here in front of it. So I'm gonna try to film it a little bit. Also, while I'm here, before I forget, I do want to point this out. I will tell the history of the building in a second, but when they were doing some repair work, they noticed that there were some old words hidden under the original paint, but I don't know. Not too much. Can't really say anything right now. So, one of the big problems with trying to film stuff in this city is that it's incredibly loud. Even with the microphone, even with the little poofy thing that's supposed to help filter out the noise, especially the wind noise, it's just going to be incredibly loud. So that old building, that's the tenement house, or the rent-seeking house of Pelageya Milovanova. She was a widow entrepreneur who was also an old believer, one of the offshoots of the Russian Eastern Orthodox Church. She owned a brick factory and a few other rental properties in the city, as you know, was pretty common at that time. But that building, that was supposed to act as a calling card for her bricks. Those things I showed you too were paintings from a pre-revolutionary business that had been in that building. So the whole thing with the Milovanova building back there is that she came from a long line of brick makers. The family brick business, there were multiple factories, multiple generations of people doing it. And they honestly were big brick players. The historical building, this one on the screen right now, the historical building in front of Red Square was made with their bricks. Now, the house itself, the Dochodny Dom, was supposed to look a little bit like old market stalls. And as we could tell from the paintings or the uncovered paintings from the pre-revolutionary period, or the pre-revolution period, they planned to use the first floor as sort of shops and stalls. So it was supposed to have like an old market kind of look to it. And in the picture of that old building too, you can probably see there are supposed to be like these decorative elements towards the top that are kind of reminiscent of the decorative elements, the wooden decorative elements on Russian izbas. But yeah, anyway, after the revolution, the family just basically disappears from the records. The widow, Pelageya, she died a few years before the revolution, and her son just is out of the record. But the factory, obviously, was nationalized, and the bricks from the Milovanova, from her factories, or from those family factories, those bricks would eventually be used in the construction of building the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the MID building, as well as in projects to restore the Kremlin walls, and as well as in restoration work for the Troitsa Sergeyeva Lavra, which I also had a video where I went there too. So the brick factories, even after the family stopped being involved in it, those factories still were a very important part of the actual construction of this city. I have a few older buildings here, but yeah, really, honestly, the big thing with that old house is it's very cool, right? It's a very strange and unusual design, and like, I had so much of, like, I tried going to the opposite side of the street. Now, granted, you know, it was kind of just the sun, that was my not thinking and not planning appropriately. But also, you can't really see it. Like, you're on the opposite side of what effectively is a 3 or 4 lane highway in one direction, a 3 or 4 lane highway in the other direction. So not only is it loud and dusty and just unpleasant to be next to, but you're also like super far from the building, so you can't see it. And then when you do get up close to the building, it's even worse. Like, you're literally just standing on the side of a 4-lane highway, of an 8-lane highway, I guess. And it's even louder, it's even dustier, and you're so close to the building, you can't actually see anything. And up until 1960-ish, if I remember correctly, the third ring road back there didn't actually exist. So that house would have been on just a regular road. It would have been a highway, but not as massive as that one back there, as the third ring road is today. And so it would have been a little bit more quiet and a little bit more, I guess, comfortable if you wanted to see it. As it is, since they built the third ring road, that building has just kind of been forgotten, or maybe even you could say like fallen into even further disrepair, which is unfortunate because like the history of that family alone and how like their bricks are everywhere. The Kremlin, the historical building in front of Red Square, the MID building, or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs building, even the Lavra in Sergeyev Posad. Like, those are all massive, famous, super famous, important sites of this country and of this city. And like, one of the individuals who was responsible for building factories that then would produce those bricks, that residence has just kind of been left to rot. But okay, so I'm gonna flip this back around here. This is a pretty unassuming street. I actually, again, in that video I made a few years back, I actually did go into this food court here. So again, for those of you who have seen that video, then you might be able to orient a little bit. We're gonna go up this road in I don't really feel like covering a lot of stuff on this street, just because, again, in that other video, I did a little bit of a walk around. I showed like there are a bunch of small businesses here and there, and that's still it. Nothing has seriously changed here. Still got small businesses. We still got kind of like these older buildings. It's just not too much. Kobzon City. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. For those of you who do not know who Kobzon is, he's basically a former politician slash gangster who, yeah, not like a stand-up individual, although it's not what they would lead you to believe. But probably don't want to say too much. Don't want to get in trouble with anybody. Yeah, like when I was filming here in the wintertime, I went down there and kind of highlighted the reuse of those spaces. Oh, spun us a little bit too much. So, one of the things which I did say though is that I wanted to, again, like in that first whole video, is like I wanted to do a place to get like some breakfast, a coffee and a pastry, a place to get some street food, like a lunch thing, and then also a place where you could get dinner. The thing is, I'm not gonna do dinner. First of all, I just ate shawarma like 2 hours ago, so I'm just not hungry at all. Beyond that, it's just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth attempting to highlight one specific place in this area, simply because there are a lot of really good places to grab a bite to eat. In fact, this whole area back here, there's like 3 or 4 different restaurants. Again, I did a video on this like back in the day, so yeah. What I am, however, going to do, love the chestnut trees, right? Fantastic. What I am going to do is highlight a place where we could maybe go get a drink. So we're going to go see about that. This place right here on the corner is supposed to be kind of a thing. So we're going to see if it's open. It is open from 3. It is 3:45. So I guess we're good. So the name of this place is Slёzы, berёzы, or the birch tears. And I guess let's have a look. Let's see what we got here. Здравствуйте. Просто попить.
Любой свободный столик, также можно сесть на веранду или с ограничением по времени.
Просто к бару. Здравствуйте. Вы не против? Хорошо. Хорошо. Как я понимаю, здесь какие-то коктейли, ну, местные, да?
Ну, да, они простенькие, вот можете посмотреть вот здесь.
Да, я понимаю. А есть что-то вот там более-менее интересно?
Более-менее интересно, это что-то прям супер необычное вы хотите.
Ну, как, прям, как это...
Чтобы выглядело?
Ну, необычно, вот именно здесь, только здесь, вот это как. Я понимаю, что здесь березовый сок везде.
Ну, березовый сок, вот разве что, да. Слезки можете попробовать, это любовь.
Хорошо. Вот это джин, лайм,
Он
курасао.
такой кисленький будет, да. У него
Хорошо.
цвет интересный. Такой морской волны он будет.
Давайте
Вот,
слезки. Ага.
Еще что-то будет или...
Пока вот только
Ага. Оплата у вас как бы...
карты. Okay, so obviously it's a bar, but like the whole thing with this place is the interior. It's gonna be a little low light, but it's definitely got a very, very vibe. Like you can think straight up actual old stairs. But then, obviously, the big selling point is the actual ceiling itself, which, again, the name of the restaurant is Slёzы, berёzы, which is birch tears, and we've got something out of like a classic Russian fairy tale here, well, something along those lines, but just the inclusion of all these natural elements with, at the same time, a very, very like old Soviet design. On the interior front, this is just like on another level. So there's a second floor over there too, so we're gonna go check that out. Let's go take a look. We got Shishkin, if I remember correctly. I'm not gonna bother anybody up here, but I'm going to assume also the original interior work too. So just like all sorts of very eclectic, but also like perfect. So yeah, I mean, they do have food here. This is a place you can eat. They got a full menu, but again, I'm not in the mood. This is one of those places though, like once you actually get in here and you actually see what this place is like, you do kind of want to come back. You can imagine this being just like a really cool, really upbeat and lively place. I'm trying to get this like, the drink's pretty good too, not gonna lie. There's gin, blue curacao, lime, ginger, and there's something else in there. I'm not entirely sure what, but it's good. Like earlier I talked about how the infused vodkas just didn't really feel like the type of thing that you would want right now, mainly because it's like super hot outside, and I still stand by that, you know? Like, I know you can drink it ice cold, but I'm not a big cocktail dude, and I don't know if I ever was, but every once in a while, especially when you get the weather like it is today, then it does kind of make a lot of sense. But I'm gonna finish this and then we'll head back outside. Okay, well, I was in there a little bit longer than I maybe intended to, but very, very good personnel, very chatty. Yeah, just good. I mean, I might have gotten lucky in the sense that it was kind of early in the day, so. But we're about finished here. There is one thing I want to show you here, though, right behind me. I'm just gonna flip it around right here. This is a bell tower. This is right across the street from Slёzы, berёzы, and if you've watched some of those older videos, might recognize this bell tower as one that was previously under reconstruction. In my past videos, it had been completely covered in construction materials, like scaffolding all around the sides and the green netting that they put up around it. And it has been completely redone. Now, I don't know. I'll put up right now a historic image of the bell tower. I don't know how historically accurate it is. Let me run across the road here real fast. But from here, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good from right here. Now, I don't know if it's a one-to-one. If you look at the domes up on top, they do feel a little bit more modern. There's a little bit more color going on up there than you would expect it to have. In fact, now that there are no trolleys, we can go ahead and cross over. You can see that a little bit, right? The domes, I'm not sure you can pick that up. They've got a little bit too much color. So, regardless, the fact that they redid the bell tower is a huge plus, and I think that's actually where I want to stop right here. If I go too much further in that direction, we're gonna be back in the Baumanskaya area, and I don't really want to do that. So, yeah, I guess that's the end of the Krasnoselskaya area. I tried to go around and hit as much as I could, and I do realize that today was probably not the most interesting. There were, in these last few videos, some things that probably weren't very pleasant to see. Pretty loud, pretty industrial areas, things of that nature. Just even parts of the city that are kind of boring. You know, little park, industrial parks, things of that nature as well too. But that's kind of how it is. And I think that's the idea, is like, as this series moves on, we're gonna run more into these situations where we have parts of the city. I'll walk a little bit instead of standing. We have parts of the city that aren't going to be the most beautiful or the most interesting, and that's okay. That's the whole idea. The idea is to show Moscow as it actually is, to show the parts of the city like this, the parts of the city that are just, well, kind of dead zones and places that we exist in as people. Are they interesting? Are they super exciting? Not really, but nevertheless, this is Moscow. This is a part of Moscow. This is a side of it that ultimately I want to not only show, but I also want to save for the future, because a city like Moscow changes so quickly, and it's important to, in whatever way possible, lock this in so that in the future there is some record of this. We have old photos now that go back 100 years ago, and 100 years from now we'll have these videos, and that will give us the idea and the information to let us know how we lived and what people saw, and just the historical view of the city. But I'm gonna wrap it up here, at least in this specific point. But we're not done with this video. If you're watching this right now, it means I'm done with my walk around of Krasnoselskaya, but that means it's about time for us to pick the next metro station to go to. So I'm gonna swing it back over to myself in my office, I guess, and then we'll just pick it up over there, okay? So, and that was the end of the area around the metro station Krasnoselskaya. It took a little bit longer than I originally imagined it would, 7 videos. I think I was imagining it would be closer to 3, but you live and learn. I still had a fun time making it, and I think all in all, it was a pretty interesting trip around the region. There were some things which I discovered for myself during the filming process, and I hope that you got to see some stuff and experience some stuff that you might otherwise not have. As it is, I do think that this is going to be one of those situations with metro stations in or close to the center where there's just a lot of history, a lot of buildings, and it is going to be a balancing act of how many videos I make. Now, obviously, once I'm inside the ring line of the metro, it will get a little bit easier because it's a smaller territory and there are more metro stations in there, so I'll be able to hyper fixate on really specific areas around a metro station. But as it is right now, I do kind of hope that the next location is going to be a little bit further from the center, maybe someplace I'm less familiar with, or maybe even a place I haven't been to before. And that's why we're back here right now, because it's time to find out what the next stations are going to be. And I said stations because when I do this here, we're gonna spin the wheel together. I'm gonna try to get this. I have already removed metro station Krasnoselskaya. The check mark has been removed, but the thing I want to do is I want to spin twice today. And the reason I want to spin twice is for multiple reasons. One, having two metro stations give me a little bit of time to prepare. I'll spin this while I'm chatting. So it gives me a little bit more time to prepare, but it also allows me to choose the order. I'm not going to go exactly in order with these two metro stations, and then I can kind of pick and choose. The first one we have Okruzhnaya. Okruzhnaya on the green line. I don't even know where that is, I don't think. So that's a keeper. That's fantastic. That is a place I've never been to before. And I'm almost certain it's Okruzhnaya. It's going to be pretty far from the center. But the other reason I want to do two stations right now is because it also means that I can get out and film things faster. The editing process takes a little bit of time, and the filming process can go a little bit faster. So we had Okruzhnaya, and up next we have Alexeyevskaya. That's actually really fantastic. Alexeyevskaya is a really great one. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Again, Alexeyevskaya is a really interesting one too, because before I had the idea of doing the roulette wheel and letting fate decide, I actually thought about just going to certain areas of the city and walking around and filming. And Alexeyevskaya is one of those parts of the city where I've never actually done a lot of walking around on foot. I know it's kind of an interesting part of the city. It's not super far outside of the center. And that was actually one that I had plans of doing a little bit of filming with. So the fact that it came up from the wheel is just, it's a sign. So I've got Okruzhnaya and Alexeyevskaya. So my guess is I probably will do them in order. Okruzhnaya is probably a little less frequented. It's a little bit further from the center, and it's a place that I've never been to. So probably will be a little bit easier and quicker to film. Whereas Alexeyevskaya is a little bit closer to the center, not as historical necessarily as Krasnoselskaya, but there definitely is a little bit more to check out there. But there you have it. We're finished with Krasnoselskaya once again, and now we already know what we're looking forward to into the future. Okruzhnaya and Alexeyevskaya. So I'm super pumped. I hope that you are ready to go check out some other parts of the city. If you want to do a little digging in advance, I will, in the pinned comment below this video as well, I will put the names of those stations, and you can do a little looking on the maps yourself to get an idea of where we're going to be heading in the future. But I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. I'm hoping that you are also super excited. Leave a comment, leave a like, all that good stuff. But I will get out and start filming on that as soon as humanly possible so that I can share that with you as soon as humanly possible. But until then, y'all take care of yourselves. This has been Russia in Context. Thanks for watching.